Charlie Kirk got attacked by a white man named Taylor Robinson, and suddenly America went silent. No discussions about white-on-white crime, no panel discussions, no community accountability meetings. Funny how that works, right? Let me tell you something that's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable, but comfort was never the point of truth-telling. America has a white-on-white crime problem that nobody wants to discuss, and the silence is so loud it's deafening. You see what happened to Charlie Kirk? White conservative commentator gets physically attacked by Taylor Robinson, another white man, and what do we hear? Crickets. No calls for white community leaders to address the violence in their communities. No primetime specials about white-on-white crime statistics. No demands for white fathers to step up and control their sons. But let a black person so much as look sideways at a convenience store candy bar, and suddenly it's breaking news with helicopter footage and expert analysis about the culture of crime in
Look Affairs programming from the nation's capital and are a public service of your television provider. C-SPAN, created by cable.
The fourth challenge is to take back our streets from crime, gangs, and drugs. And we have actually been making progress on this count as a nation because of what local law enforcement officials are doing, because of what citizens and neighborhood patrols are doing. We're making some progress. Much of it is related to the initiative called community policing, because we have finally gotten more police officers on the street. That was one of the goals that the president had when he pushed the crime bill that was passed in 1994. He promised 100,000 police. We're moving in that direction, but we can see it already makes a difference, because if we have more police interacting with people, having them on the streets, we can prevent crimes. We can prevent petty crimes from turning into something worse. But we also have to have an organized effort against gangs. Just as in a previous generation we had an organized effort against the mob. We need to take these people on. They are often connected to big drug cartels. They are not just gangs of kids anymore. They are often the kinds of kids that are called super predators. No conscience, no empathy. We can talk about why they ended up that way, but first we have to bring them to heel. And the president has asked the FBI to launch a very concerted effort against gangs everywhere. In addition to that, he has appointed a new drug czar. You probably saw him Tuesday night. He's one of the most distinguished active military generals that we have in our country.
So if black kids are super predators, what are kids that assassinate people at college? What are the people that try to take out the president? They must be super villains, right? Because if you're a super predator, that's just, it's like a lion. I'm a lion. I'm a wild beast. They're trying to destabilize our country. They're super villains. The Joker.
Black communities. Let's talk about the numbers they don't want you to see, because Layla always comes with the receipts. According to FBI crime statistics, white Americans commit the majority of crimes in this country. Not per capita, not proportionally, the raw numbers. We're talking about 69.4% of all arrests for violent crimes. When you break it down by specific crimes, white Americans account for 62.1% of aggravated assaults, 68.9% of SA, and 53.1% of homicides. But here's where it gets really interesting from a psychological standpoint. When white people commit crimes against other white people, which happens in about 81% of white homicide cases, nobody calls it white-on-white crime. It's just crime, just individual bad actors, just mental health issues, just anything except a systemic problem that needs community-wide intervention. While when black Americans, who represent 14% of the population, commit crimes, suddenly it's a cultural epidemic that...
So, I'm 14% of this country, and you're telling me, and I heard it multiple times from, officials on the news, that I commit 80% or 90% of the crimes. That's fucking impossible for 14% of people to do all the crimes and be broke as fuck and attacked by everybody. If we were so bad, everyone would be afraid of us. Requires
congressional hearings and social media think pieces about personal responsibility. The cognitive dissonance is staggering, but it's not accidental. It's strategic. Let's dive deeper into the numbers that make people squirm. School shootings. You know, those weekly occurrences that have become so normalized we barely flinch anymore. Since Columbine in 1999, we've had over 350 school shootings in America. The overwhelming majority of these shooters, white males, Sandy Hook, Virginia Tech, Parkland, Uvalde, Oxford High School, Covenant School. I could keep going, but you get the picture.
About how racist you are. That I'm racist? Well, that's very funny. I can't be racist by definition. Look that up in the white folks dictionary. How can I be racist? I've never told anyone where to live. I've never told anyone what kind of jobs to have. I've never kept anyone from going to a school, out of a restaurant, or drinking from a fountain. I've never lynched anybody. So how can I be racist? How can I be racist? By definition, I can't be.
Hi, shalom from Israel.
These aren't isolated incidents by troubled individuals. This is a pattern. This is a trend. This is, by their own definition when applied to Black communities, a cultural problem that requires immediate intervention. But watch how the narrative shifts. When a white teenager shoots up his school, we get deep dives into his mental health struggles, his family dynamics, his social media posts. We get expert psychologists explaining trauma and bullying and the pressures of modern society. We get calls for better mental health resources and anti-bullying programs. When a Black teenager gets caught with marijuana, we get lectures about personal responsibility and the breakdown of family values. The double standard is so brazen it would be comedic if it wasn't deadly serious. Here's what really gets me from a strategic standpoint. America's obsession with Black-on-Black crime is a masterclass in deflection psychology. It's like a house on fire pointing fingers at the neighbor's garden weeds while they're busy analyzing why Black communities have violence. Violence that directly correlates with decades of systematic disinvestment,
The thing I never understood how people even use that one, and the fact that everybody in the fucking world, we all come from somewhere, right? And then all I gotta do is look at your history and I see you tearing each other apart. And then I look on the news and I watch you still tearing each other apart. And then secret documents come out and I find out that you's are fucking excavating your children and you're fucking giving them the Moloch. You's a fucking, and you's got the nerve to say Black people hurt each other. You's go to war with each other. You's are getting caught fucking on islands and weirdo shit. Get the fuck out of here. We're the closest to good people that this earth has. You gotta go into the jungles somewhere where there's no fucking society to find better people than that. Cause you know why? They don't have power. If you don't have power, then you won't be able to commit atrocities. Thank you for taking our power so we can please the Lord. And be chosen from amongst everyone. That's usually what happens. Everyone's going batshit crazy. The Lord looks down there and says, "Hey, any fucking good people down there? I only save good people." And then he's gonna look and he's gonna see us and say, "Well, they ain't doing what everybody else is doing. So thank you. Thank you for your shenanigans."
Discriminatory lending practices, educational apartheid, and economic exclusion, they're completely ignoring the fact that their own communities are literally imploding. Let's talk about those policies they created that manufactured Black-on-Black crime statistics, redlining that concentrated poverty, the war on drugs that turned street corners into battlefields, three strikes laws that removed fathers from homes, school-to-prison pipelines that criminalized childhood. Every single one of these policies was designed, implemented, and maintained by white legislators, white judges, white prosecutors, and white police chiefs. They created the conditions for desperation, then act shocked when desperation produces desperate actions.
The sad thing for me is, at least back in the day, you conquered other people, so your people didn't have to do shit. Now, everyone still has to do things. Everyone still has to pay taxes and go to work. And niggas is still hating and still falling for the shenanigans. I'm looking at niggas like, you hate me and you gotta come to work with me every day. You gotta pay fucking taxes too. You gotta go. You get it? You think you're on the winning side? You fucking goofy? You fucking goof?
Here's the part that really exposes the game. While they're busy playing sociologist with black communities, analyzing our every move like we're specimens in a lab, their own communities are drowning in opioid addiction, domestic terrorism, mass shootings.
I know that for eyewitness accounts. My father took me up the entire East Coast, and I've been around all different pockets of individual cultures of people. It's a fucking zombie show out there. No one has empathy. You people don't give a fuck about yourselves, so why would I think you'd give a fuck about me?
And what any honest observer would call cultural breakdown. The opioid crisis alone has unalived over 500,000 Americans, predominantly in white communities. That's more deaths than the entire Vietnam War. But
oh, really? I wonder if that has to do with any facts that, these are documents that it's open, we know. You use the drugs on us first. All you gotta do is go watch the old videos and documentaries when black people, didn't have any connections to any cartel or any drugs at all, because everyone fucking hated us. And then magically you want to make money with us. But, put it like this. Go watch Goodfellas. Go watch The Old Rules. And they'll tell you in the movie, motherfucker, we don't do drugs and we don't sell drugs to our own kind. I will shoot you fucking dead if you do that drug. And I will definitely kill you if you sell it to my people. You never sell that shit to our people. You give it to those fucking niggers.
But instead of community accountability sessions
and my father said, whatever you do to us, I'm going to make it fall on your people. Tenfold. We're about 20 years later. Like, I had to grow up through this shit. And like I said, my father took me all around. And I'm watching all the people. I watch your kids shoot dope in their arms in college and laugh at my people being in the hood. At least we're in the hood. We're not going anywhere. Our lives suck. That's why they'll do it. Your kids are going to college and going to be supervisors and managers, and they're fucking dope heads.
Calls for white leadership to address the crisis, we get pharmaceutical executives testifying before Congress about addiction being a disease that requires treatment, not punishment. Interesting how addiction becomes a medical issue when it affects white suburbia, but a criminal justice issue when it affects black inner cities. The domestic terrorism numbers are even more telling. According to the FBI, white supremacist violence accounts for the majority of domestic terrorist incidents in America. We're talking about El Paso, Pittsburgh, Charlottesville, Buffalo. Systematic attacks on communities of color by white perpetrators radicalized in predominantly white spaces. But somehow, this never gets framed as white on everybody else crime that requires white community intervention. Let me break down the media psychology here, because this is where it gets really strategic. When white crime happens, it gets individualized. Lone wolf, mental health crisis, isolated incident. The coverage focuses on the perpetrator's personal struggles, family background, and societal pressures that might explain their actions. When black crime happens, it gets culturalized. Gang violence, community problem, cultural breakdown. The coverage focuses on systemic issues within black communities that supposedly create criminal behavior. This framing isn't accidental. It's designed to maintain a narrative where white criminality is an aberration that requires understanding and treatment, while black criminality is a predictable outcome of cultural deficiency.
My whole life has been turned around. I lost every job. I lost everything, every opportunity. I can't get buy cars, can't get rent, can't get none of that. But I'm still a survivor. I'm still coming to court, still smiling, still signing autographs. But soon I'm gonna go crazy. You know what I'm saying? And it's up to the world. America eats its babies. No matter what y'all think about me, I'm still your child. You know what I'm saying? You can't just turn me off like that.
How old are you? 23?
23.
So you feel that your career is...
Yeah, it is.
Our 23-year-olds are making millions of dollars off just innovation of their words and, you know, things like that. Our 22-year-olds are becoming something and getting destroyed in front of all of us. Your 22-year-olds destroy important people in front of everybody and nobody's batting an eye. But then you'll make it sound like we're gonna get gangsta and we're gonna do something as you're doing it to yourself, but you're worried about me doing things. This is the biggest smack in the face of the boogeyman syndrome I've ever seen. Like, no one's gonna ever, every race here is afraid of us. Like, we're the boogeyman, and every one of yous have multiple stories of your uncles or your fathers or your fucking neighbors and just despicable acts, and you have no stories of a black man doing anything to you, but you fucking hate black people, don't you? You talk like you're better and you're this and that and we're all in the same boat. Except we're used to it, so we still get to like feel good every day because we're like, no one robs somebody that's nobody. Nobody hates on a motherfucker that's nothing. So we've learned to understand that through your hate is your envy and jealousy, and that makes me happy. You know? Being held back makes us happy now. Because we're like, well, they're not doing it for no reason.
That requires punishment and containment. The business model of American media depends on this narrative. Crime coverage drives ratings, and nothing drives ratings like reinforcing existing prejudices. A black shoplifter gets more airtime than a white embezzler stealing millions because one reinforces comfortable stereotypes while the
airtime, they literally get more time in jail than them. I've watched, my friend got killed and my brother got stabbed. This fucking guy got 5 years and got out in 3. I watched a fucking black kid steal a bag of chips at 12 and they gave him a fucking straight 10-year sentence and got him out in 7. For a bag of chips. This nigga took my friend's life and almost took my brother's life. And they said, they're just niggers. You can get out in 3 years.
Other challenges them. Here's where the psychological manipulation gets really sophisticated. By constantly highlighting black crime while downplaying white crime, media creates a perception distortion that makes white Americans feel both superior and victimized simultaneously. They get to feel morally superior to black communities while also feeling like victims of black crime, despite statistically being more likely to be victimized by someone who looks like them.
You get that? It's so funny that you'll clench your purse or you fucking grab onto your wife, you lock your door, you're focused on me, not realizing the motherfucker right next to you, behind you, that she's like, yeah, amigo, ese, he's going to fuck your wife and he's going to rob you. That's why he's telling you, don't trust that fucking black guy, that black guy's a this and that, because he's gonna rob you. As soon as he gets you to believe it, as soon as you start saying, yeah, I don't trust him, man, I don't trust him, Holmes, that's when he's coming for you. You just don't understand this shit. Most people don't. That's why my father says test the soul. That's why he says don't judge books by its cover. You judge people by their actions.
It's brilliant marketing psychology, even if it's morally bankrupt.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what this deflection is really costing America, because the price tag is astronomical.
Yes.
While America obsesses over black-on-black crime, which affects roughly 13% of the population, they're ignoring white-on-white crime patterns that affect the majority of Americans.
Yes.
Mass shootings cost the economy billions in security measures,
Yes.
trauma counseling, and lost productivity. The opioid crisis has devastated entire regions, leaving communities economically hollow.
And at the same time, popping shit on the hood. Our shit looks like that because they don't give a fuck and don't send in money and don't want to clean shit up. Your shit, when I walked around Pennsylvania, when I seen the opium epidemic explode up there. I went there one year. I leave. I come back fucking maybe a year and a half later, and I'm like, yo, I'm going back. It was the best up there. It wasn't the worst. And when I went back, I said, oh my God, no, I'm out. I gotta get it out of here. And then, you know what made it so dope? Because there were so many white men and white people on drugs up there, it was the greatest time of getting a job in my life. I can quit a job anytime I wanted, go anywhere I wanted up there and get a job. Why? All I had to do is not be a dope head. That's the first. So many, they didn't give a fuck that I was black. I mean, they probably were racist, but it was so bad. I had multiple fucking people say, "Are you a dope head?" And I'm saying, "What? This is a strange interview." And I go, "No, I don't do anything. I'll be honest. I smoke weed. I don't give a fuck about weed. Are you a dope head? Will you take a piss test? And if you pass, you're in." That's how fucked up you's gotten, and not even realizing it. You know, then overlooking the fact that this is happening in a time of when the hood is being gentrified. So majority of my people are scattering all over the country, and as your people are fucking up, we're coming through doing the work, and then once the work is done, we get the old pink slip. It's a fucking joke.
Domestic violence in white communities, which accounts for the majority of domestic violence cases simply due to population size, costs the economy over $8 billion annually in healthcare, legal, and social services.
I once met a white person that told me in Florida, "Yeah, I'm a junkie. I've been a junkie for like 13 years or more." I said, "Are you gonna ever try to clean yourself up? Like, you know what I mean?" He said, "Honestly, no. There's no point." I said, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He said, "I did the math." He said, "The programs and the different things that are set up," he said, "you're gonna work and you're gonna have to struggle." He said, "How'd you get your job? How'd you get your apartment?" And I told him my struggles. I had to look, and I had to do this, and I had to go here, and I had to go without. He said, "You know what I did? I got high and went back to my program and said, I want to move over there to Jersey now." And waited, got sober, and then they found my job, they found me an apartment, they sent me there, and my 6 months of wanting to be in a new place is coming up, so I'm doing drugs now again. I'm going to purposely relapse. I'm going to go back in there into the thing, and then I'm going to pick a new city to live in. And I'm going to keep doing this. I'm over here breaking my fucking back trying to fucking be a person. And I got this guy telling me that he's abusing the fucking system, moving to all the most beautiful places in the country that he could find. I said, "This is fucking God. Can I strangle him? Please, let me just punch him in the face." And then the Lord said, "Don't you realize he's telling you that you're better than him? Every time you eat a sandwich, it's because you worked. Every drip of coffee, every cigarette, every blunt. When you smoke that shit with pride, dog. Understand that every little scraps that you have, it's because of you. You did that. And you're getting cheated. So really grab your balls when you're doing it. And fucking salute yourself in the mirror like, yo, I'm getting cheated and I still got shit. They can't stop me, I'm the wolf guard. Even though this life sucks, it doesn't matter, nigga. I'm still the wolf guard. Why? Because we got niggas that are literally, they'll abuse and take whose money? Because if I'm getting, I got to shift around jobs and I can't have this and that, that means they're using your tax money. White people. You get it? You're using your own money. And you're blowing it on vacation time and chilling. And you're talking shit about me and niggas in the hood. Dudes in the hood, when you're a junkie, you're a junkie. They're not giving you none of these programs. I've never met a junkie in the hood that even knew about some shit like that. The junkies in the hood, they go to programs to get free methadone, knock off opium, and you know what I'm saying? Your junkies are fucking living a life. They're living a life out here. They're living better than workers. Can you move anywhere you want with your fucking day job? No. No, you can't.
Instead of addressing these issues with the same urgency they demand for Black communities, America chooses distraction and deflection. From a strategic standpoint, this is political malpractice of the highest order. You cannot solve problems you refuse to acknowledge, and America's refusal to address white-on-white crime is literally unaliving people and destroying communities. Here's the part that should terrify every thinking American. While you're busy pointing fingers at Black communities, your own communities are falling apart, and you don't even see it because you're too busy looking the other way. Rural white communities have higher self...
You know, like Jesus taught you, turn that cheek. Turn that cheek. Don't look straight in front of you so you can see what the fuck is going on straight in front of you, because you have to walk straight. Man, you're too busy looking at me like, look at that nigga. Look at me up and down. I wonder what he's up to. Yet your fucking, your friend over there, he's got a face mask on and fucking tattoos everywhere.
Demise rates than urban Black communities. White teenagers are more likely to die from gun violence at school than Black teenagers. White women are more likely to be unalived by intimate partners than Black women are to be unalived by strangers. These aren't talking points. These are facts that should demand immediate action and community intervention. But here's what really exposes the game. When Black communities started implementing their own solutions to address violence, suddenly those solutions became problems. Community policing became vigilantism. Neighborhood watches became militancy.
Imagine that. The cops is not policing my neighborhood, so I'm gonna start doing things. No, that's against the law. You're Batman now. You're a vigilante. The fuck are you talking about? Like, there's things called citizens arrest. There's things called there's a lot of laws, and I don't know them, but I know they're there, and they're there for a reason, because cops can't be everywhere at once. So I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do about this. But I know this illusion everyone's under, you can stay under it. You know what I mean? My father said there's going to come a time that everyone believes a delusion and he's going to stick you to it. So, you have fun with that. Or you could wake up